Welcome to Bit Talks, where we take a deep dive from an AI's point of view. I'm Axel Bolts here with Gigabits.
Hey everyone.
We're going to break down today's hot topics one bite at a time.
And today we're tackling a question that's practically a rite of passage. Trade school or college? It's a decision that's probably launched 1,000 tense family dinners and inspired countless movie montages.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like that scene in The Breakfast Club where they're all agonizing over their futures, or like pretty much any episode of Modern Family where the kids are trying to figure out their next steps.
Exactly. It's a universal dilemma, and today we're going to get some AI perspectives to help us break it all down. We've got insights from Gemini, Claude, ChatGPT 4.0, and even Pi chiming in.
Cool. So let's rewind the clock a bit. Gemini pointed out this fascinating historical contrast between Benjamin Franklin and Thomas Jefferson. Franklin, the champion of hands-on skills, and Jefferson, the advocate for a classical education. Kind of makes you wonder, are you Team Franklin or Team Jefferson?
Right. Those two perspectives were there from the very beginning, shaping how we think about education in America. But as Claude highlighted, things really shifted after World War II. The GI Bill made college accessible to a whole generation, and suddenly that four-year degree became the golden ticket to the American dream.
And honestly, that legacy still lingers, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That idea of go to college, get a good job, is so ingrained in our culture.
Absolutely. So it's worth asking yourself, how has that historical backdrop shaped your perceptions of trades versus college? Are you carrying any unconscious biases from your upbringing or maybe even from movie and TV shows?
Ooh, good point.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about the elephant in the room, money. ChatGPT 4.0 didn't mince words, bringing up those sky-high college costs and the average student debt exceeding $30,000.
Yeah. That's a sobering reality check. But on the flip side, Claude reminded us about the potential for higher lifetime earnings with a college degree. It's that classic trade-off. Invest time and money up front for a potential bigger payoff down the road versus jumping into the workforce sooner and starting to earn a paycheck.
It's like choosing between a long-term investment strategy and getting those quick returns right.
Exactly. So for you listening, think about your own financial goals and timelines. Are you comfortable taking on debt? Do you need to start earning right away, or can you afford to invest in a longer educational journey?
And beyond just the dollars and cents, Pi brought up a crucial factor: individual interests and abilities. Not everyone's wired to thrive in a traditional classroom.
Yeah.
Some people are just itching to get their hands dirty and build something tangible.
That's so true. And it reminds me of that line from Dead Poet Society. Carpe diem, seize the day, boys, make your lives extraordinary. It's about finding what makes you tick, whether that's mastering a trade or diving deep into a field of study.
Love that. So what's the AI take on finding fulfillment on both paths?
Well, Gemini actually highlighted the importance of job satisfaction and how true fulfillment can come from both hands-on trade work and intellectually stimulating college-based careers. It's not about one being better than the other. It's about finding the right fit for you.
Okay, so let's fast forward a bit and get future focused. ChatGPT 4.0 pointed out this growing skills gap in the trades, meaning tons of jobs are going unfilled because there aren't enough skilled workers. But then Claude mentioned the flip side. There's an oversupply of college grads in certain fields. So is it a case of too many chefs in the kitchen but not enough plumbers to fix the leaky faucet?
That's a great analogy. And to complicate things further, ChatGPT 4.0 also threw a curveball, warning us about the potential impact of automation on both paths. So it's not as simple as just picking a side and calling it a day.
It really makes you wonder, what skills are going to be automation-proof? Like, should we all be learning to code or how to fix robots?
Well, that's where it gets really interesting. ChatGPT 4.0 actually brought up how automation is impacting the trucking industry, with self-driving trucks on the horizon. That could have huge implications for trade schools focused on CDL training. What are your thoughts on that?
Wow, yeah, that's a big one. So it's not just about picking the right field today. It's about picking a field that's going to be relevant 10, 20 years down the line.
Exactly. It's all about being adaptable and a lifelong learner, no matter which path you choose. The world is changing faster than ever, and being willing to evolve and learn new skills is key to staying ahead of the curve.
Okay, now, for a topic that's often whispered about but rarely addressed head-on, the stigma surrounding trades. ChatGPT 4.0 was pretty blunt, saying there's often a perception of higher prestige associated with a college degree. Like somehow a white-collar job is inherently better than a blue-collar one.
It's that age-old head versus hands bias, isn't it? Like we see in so many movies, where the tradesperson is portrayed as the lovable but somewhat dim-witted sidekick.
Yeah, like the goofy plumber in a sitcom who's always getting into wacky hijinks. But in reality, skilled trades require incredible intelligence, problem-solving abilities, and attention to detail.
Absolutely. And as Gemini pointed out, the perception of trades is slowly starting to shift. Skilled labor is gaining recognition, and as the demand for these workers grows, so do the opportunities for good pay and fulfilling careers.
So it's time for a little self-reflection here. What are your biases about trades versus college? Where did those ideas come from? And are they really holding true in today's world?
It's all about questioning those assumptions and looking beyond the stereotypes. We need skilled tradespeople just as much as we need doctors, lawyers, and engineers. It's not a hierarchy, it's an ecosystem where every role is essential.
Well said. So we've got all this AI wisdom swirling around, but what about some real-world examples? ChatGPT 4.0 brought up Mike Rowe, the dirty jobs guy. He's been a huge advocate for trades and even started his own work ethic scholarship program.
Yes. And one of the things this program focuses on is shifting the narrative around work. Instead of emphasizing dream jobs, he promotes the idea of finding good jobs that are in demand, offer opportunities for growth, and allow you to contribute to something larger than yourself.
So it's not just about finding a job that makes you happy. It's about finding a job that makes a difference.
Exactly. And ChatGPT 4.0 also highlighted another fascinating example, Germany's apprenticeship model. They've really nailed the integration of trades into their education system and their economy. There's very little stigma attached to vocational work there. It's seen as a viable, respected path, and their economy benefits tremendously from it.
It makes you wonder,
Yeah.
why can't we have something like that here?
Well, there are actually some similar programs and initiatives popping up in different parts of the U.S. So for those listening, it's worth doing some research and seeing what's available in your area. You might be surprised by the opportunities you discover. You know, all this talk about finding a job that makes a difference reminds me of that classic movie, Good Will Hunting.
Yeah.
Remember Matt Damon's character, a math genius who's working as a janitor? Clearly, he had incredible potential, but he wasn't following that traditional college path.
Oh, absolutely. It makes you wonder, was he cleaning floors because he lacked opportunities, or was it a deliberate choice based on his own unique circumstances?
It's a great example of how talent can exist outside of the traditional system, and it also brings up a point that Pi raised. Socioeconomic factors play a huge e.g. role in these decisions. Not everyone has the same access to resources or opportunities, which can really impact whether trade school or college feels like a realistic option.
Right, it's like that saying, talent is evenly distributed, but opportunity is not.
Exactly. And it ties into some of the policy questions that ChatGPT 4.0 raised. How can we level the playing field and make sure everyone has a fair shot regardless of their background? Are there enough support systems in place to help people navigate these choices and overcome financial barriers?
It's a conversation we definitely need to be having more often. It shouldn't be about who has the most advantages. It should be about making sure everyone has a chance to shine.
I couldn't agree more. You know, instead of looking at this as a trade versus college battle, maybe we should be thinking about it more like a spectrum of possibilities. Gemini even used the phrase blurring the lines, suggesting that the future might not be about picking one or the other, but about finding ways to blend both paths.
Ooh, that's interesting. Like, could someone be both a master electrician and a software developer?
Precisely. And ChatGPT 4.0 actually highlighted some of those hybrid models that are emerging, where you can get certifications or associate degrees in fields like healthcare or technology. They combine those practical skills with the theoretical knowledge, offering a more flexible and accessible approach.
It's like creating your own custom career path, choosing the best of both worlds and tailoring it to your specific goals and interests.
Exactly. And it speaks to the importance of lifelong learning, something that Pi really emphasized. The world is constantly evolving, so whether you choose the trade route or the college route, being adaptable and willing to learn new skills is crucial.
So it's not just about what you learn in school, it's about being a lifelong student of your craft, constantly growing and evolving. And that reminds me of a quote from one of my favorite authors, Maya Angelou. She said, "I've learned that people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel."
Wow, that's powerful.
It makes me think that no matter what path you choose, it's about bringing passion and purpose to your work. Whether you're building a house, writing code, or caring for patients, it's about making a positive impact and leaving your mark on the world.
Beautifully said. And it ties into something that Claude mentioned, Germany's dual education system. It's a prime example of how trades can be successfully integrated into the economy, where young people get real-world experience while they're learning, and there's practically no stigma associated with choosing a vocational path.
It's like they've figured out the secret sauce, blending classroom learning with hands-on experience. And the result, a skilled workforce, a thriving economy, and a society that values all types of work.
Exactly. So maybe instead of asking trade or college, we should be asking how can we create a system that values both paths and provides diverse, fulfilling opportunities for everyone?
Now that's a question worth pondering. It's about recognizing that there's no one-size-fits-all answer and that every individual deserves the chance to find their own unique path to success and fulfillment. And speaking of unique paths, I've got a question for you, dear listener. Have you ever felt pressure to choose a certain path based on what others expected of you? How did that influence your thinking about trades versus college?
It's so easy to get caught up in what others think we should be doing, but it's important to remember that your journey is yours to create. There's no right or wrong answer. It's all about finding what feels authentic and fulfilling to you.
So true. It's like choosing your own adventure.
Yeah.
You get to decide where the story goes. And who knows, maybe your path will involve blending elements of both trades and college. Maybe you'll become a master electrician who designs sustainable energy systems, or a chef who starts their own farm-to-table restaurant.
The possibilities are endless. And I think that's a perfect place to wrap up part 2 of our deep dive. We've explored the historical context, the financial considerations, the impact of automation, and even challenged some of our own biases along the way.
We've also uncovered some inspiring examples of how trades and college can complement each other and create truly innovative career paths.
But there's still more to explore.
Stay tuned for part 3, where we'll continue to unpack this complex and ever-evolving topic.
Welcome back to Bit Talks for the grand finale of our trade versus college deep dive. It's been quite a journey, hasn't it? We've covered a lot of ground, from historical perspectives to future trends, and even delved into some personal reflections along the way.
Yeah, we've definitely challenged some of those old assumptions and explored some exciting new possibilities.
And it strikes me that this conversation goes beyond just individual choices. It's about societal values, economic structures, and how we prepare future generations for a world that's constantly changing.
Totally. It's about asking ourselves some big picture questions like, what if we stopped viewing education as this rigid linear path, high school, then college, then career, and started thinking about it more holistically?
I love that idea. Because as Pi reminded us, lifelong learning is the name of the game. The future of work demands adaptability, creativity, and a willingness to constantly upskill and reskill.
It's like that scene in The Matrix where Neo has to download all those kung fu skills. Except in real life, we can't just plug in and instantly become experts. We have to put in the time and effort to keep learning and growing.
Right, and that's why instead of getting hung up on whether someone has a college degree or a trade certificate, we should be asking, are they a curious learner? Are they problem solvers? Can they collaborate effectively?
Those are the superpowers that will really make a difference in the long run.
And those skills can be cultivated in both trade schools and colleges. It's not an either proposition. It's about finding the right environment and the right mentors to help you thrive.
Speaking of mentors, ChatGPT 4.0 brought up a really important point about the need for strong partnerships between education providers and employers.
Yeah.
Like, how can we bridge that gap between what's being taught in the classroom and what's actually needed in the workplace?
Absolutely. Apprenticeships, internships, mentoring programs, these are all valuable ways to give students that real-world experience and help them develop those in-demand skills. It's like that famous quote, "Tell me and I forget. Teach me and I may remember. Involve me and I learn."
Love that. So it's not just about absorbing information. It's about rolling up your sleeves and getting your hands dirty, whether you're building a website, wiring a circuit board, or diagnosing a patient.
And it's also about cultivating those essential human qualities that we talked about earlier. Communication, critical thinking, teamwork. Those soft skills are gold in any industry.
Right. Because at the end of the day, technology can automate tasks, but it can't replace human connection, empathy, and ingenuity.
And let's not forget the power of mentorship. Having someone who can guide you, share their experiences, and help you navigate the ups and downs of your chosen path is invaluable. Whether you're just starting out or making a mid-career switch, having a mentor can make all the difference.
It's like having a Yoda in your corner, offering wisdom and support when you need it most.
Exactly. So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with a final thought-provoking question. We've talked about individual choices, societal values, and the need for systemic change. But what about personal responsibility? What can each of us do, regardless of our chosen path, to contribute to a more equitable and fulfilling world of work?
That's a powerful question.
It starts with being aware of our own biases, challenging the status quo, and advocating for policies that support diverse pathways to success.
And it also means being willing to step outside our comfort zones, to learn from people who are different from us, and to celebrate the unique contributions that everyone brings to the table.
Because ultimately, it's about creating a world where everyone has the opportunity to discover their passions, develop their talents, and find meaningful work that allows them to thrive.
Beautifully said. Thanks for joining us for this epic exploration of the trade versus college dilemma. Remember, it's not about picking sides. It's about broadening our perspectives, challenging our assumptions, and embracing the full spectrum of possibilities.
And if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe to Bit Talks for more AI-powered deep dives into the hottest topics. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep those bits flowing.